It's the time when I can do generic British talk, 'cause call blimey governor, apples and pears and other stuff. Don't know why it became a musical. Thanks, Mary Poppins. It's your fault. Um, so yeah, it is time for us to talk BAFTAs, and of course, predicting them with myself and Owen. Um, if anybody didn't catch yesterday's video and needs clarification, AJ is going to be sitting out the rest of this season, and if you want to know why, you'll see it on the pinned video on the front page. Whether you are a new or returning sub, at least at the time of this going up, that'll probably make you clear in mind as to why he's stepped down from this award season.
Oh, other than the fact that the award season very well has sucked so far for the most part. So, I mean, it started off fine, and then it just done the party, and I don't know if it can recover or not. I guess BAFTA, you're our only hope.
It's like Star Wars. That was filmed in the UK. Thanks, Elstree.
BAFTA and SAG are our only hope.
So the interesting thing about it is, again, I'm not sure how much of it's actually being shown live or not.
Mm-hmm.
Let me quickly see if I can look at the schedule.
It's not the easiest information to find for someone living in the States, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm just seeing what it says on the generic tab. Show-stopping performance from Take That and a special musical moment with Jeff Goldblum.
He's going to play piano for In Memoriam, according to the wiki page.
Oh, okay.
That's what it says. Whether that's true or not, again, anybody can put stuff on Wikipedia.
He has got a jazz pianist background, so that does make sense.
Yeah.
To be fair. But yeah, there's no things like last year where they've detailed how many of the awards are actually going to be live,
right,
or not, because there is the sort of overlap as well, because they're roughly giving it a time slot of 2 hours and 5 minutes, so they are giving it somewhat of an overrun.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just being eaten into by, the fact that the episode of Miss Austin that they've been showing. In fact, they've all been, they're all sub-hour, which I'm guessing means it's probably being shown on American stuff, and the missing 7 or 8 minutes is where the adverts go.
Makes sense.
Probably. We know that the outstanding contribution to British cinema is going to MediCinema.
Yep.
Who organise a lot of special screenings, predominantly for children. Or, it's basically hospitals and health facilities. It's not necessarily children, but a lot of it is sort of geared around it to sort of be around kids, because, So the current MediCinemas are based at London, Newport in Wales, Glasgow up in Scotland. The RAF one, so I guess that's for PTSD and all that sort of people. Guy's Hospital in London, and also the Chelsea and Westminster one. They might have done other ones, but certainly they do various screenings, raising money, various sort of. I don't know whether they're doing one because my local cinema chain Vu is one of the major, sponsors of the stuff, along with Warner Brothers and Fox and Disney. So it's sort of a whole big thing, which is it's good to see, and so that's sort of getting some recognition. Yeah, cinemas free to patients, caregivers, and families, with MediCinema specialised nurses providing medical supervision during the screenings if needed for anything. That's a nice little touch. And then the big one that sort of got announced, and they didn't announce it officially, they just announced it on a bloody chat show, on the One Show. And it took about 24 to 48 hours before BAFTA updated their own site saying, oh yeah, Warwick Davis is getting the fellowship. It's like, great.
It's very appropriate, given the award, given his filmography.
Mm-hmm. And is, it's weird that sort of Life Too Short sort of made a thing about it, and was like stereotypically sort of about him trying to help other sort of, dwarves out as it is, but I believe, it is, although it's obviously a stylized version of himself, he is basically got some sort of style agency that does look after, people, are like Warwick, and, to make sure that they're getting proper sort of gigs and not sort of being taken advantage of and things like that, which is
Podcast.
Well, no, it's also because of the not really typecast, but like nobody sort of really takes advantage of the situation, and you sort of demeans them further, sort of thing. And he's a co-founder of a charity that also helps people with dwarfism and whatever. But yeah, for a body of work that started over 40 years ago with Return of the Jedi, at least in terms of movie stuff. Actually, no, because his first television credit is an adaptation, the BBC adaptation of some of the Narnia books back in the late 80s. So, him as Wicket, I never knew that the character's name is Wicket W. Warwick. So that even more of a nod to him. But yeah, he's getting the fellowship. So those are the two awards that we know about. The rest is what we're predicting.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm not surprised that Take That are just gonna perform Greatest Day. Be stereotypical as well.
I think it's funny that they basically Better Man turned rock DJ into a Take That song unofficially.
Oh, apparently we can blame that movie for why we're not going to now see Michelle Gondry's Pharrell Williams biopic. Because it did its test screening and did well. And I think because they're that adamant that Americans won't have heard of Pharrell Williams, which is weird because he's American, it's got shelved and isn't getting released. Which I think is completely sort of an overstatement, because yeah, there will be a lot of people that won't know who Robbie Williams is.
Yeah.
I
Oh
feel
yeah, a lot of them.
I feel there'll be a lot less people that will, you know, Happy was played on God knows how many different radio stations for years to this day.
Well, Piece by Piece didn't do as good as people thought it was going to either.
Yeah, that's true. Just so I'm still in sort of shot. Uh, but yeah, so as usual, we'll go through this. I think the Wikipedia order,
Mm-hmm.
which means we get to that weird thing.
And we'll keep chat for the end.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll keep a, we're keeping an eye on. My audio is too low. No, it's because I'm away from the mic. Apologies. Because if I look at the bars, if I suddenly make a loud noise, I'm not going to be able to sort of, I don't want to deafen you guys. And that could happen, depending how this goes. So yeah, we always start off with the weird one. And that is the Rising Star Award.
Okay.
Which is the only one that is voted on by public vote. Via I don't know whether it's phone vote or I don't know how they worked it now. I'm guessing it's probably just texting and that at the minute. I'd have to look into it if I quickly get the details about it. Because I'm just intrigued. It's always that one that seems intriguing as to how it goes. Oh wow, it literally doesn't want to tell me. Great job, Media Center.
Winners chosen entirely by public votes via text, internet, or phone.
Yeah, that's what it says there, but I'm just... There it is. I was looking for the actual press release of when they announced the 5.
Ah.
Voting now open at ee.co.uk/BAFTA until Friday the 14th at midday. So it's not... It's literally just, it's an online survey style thing by the looks of it.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than texting a number or anything like that.
Well, it also means as much as the guilds do, so let's get into it.
Yeah, so we have Marissa Abela, predominantly for her work this year on Back to Black.
Need to plug Ashley in, like literally. It's like a robot that just no longer is existing. The bad thing is what happens now is if Ashley doesn't come back, there's really not anything I can do because Ashley's in charge of the tech portion of this show, other than also being the host. Ash. Ashley? Nope. Hey, it's not a show here on Popcast Network. We don't have some form of technical difficulties. Usually it's crappy internet. In this case, it just seems like it's just bad timing. Ashley. Oh, dear God.
There we. Right, that's the first time that's happened.
All right.
Yeah, I guess the dongle actually just decided to disconnect because I was trying to change all the settings in because the mic wasn't coming up on OBS either.
All right.
But so where did I get cut off on?
You didn't even get started talking about the Rising Star. We're talking about Marissa Abela for Back in Black.
Yeah, that's
Back to Black.
Yeah,
take a shot.
Where she portrayed Amy Winehouse.
It's not the AC/DC biopic. It is the Amy Winehouse.
Yeah. Jharrel Jerome, predominantly for Unstoppable, where he was the lead for, I think it was an MGM release, from what I remember. David Johnson, who made his sort of screen recognition this year with Alien Romulus. Mikey Madison for Anora, which it seems, I mean, I'll get to that in my explanation in a minute. And then we also have Naban Rizwan, who got a lot of acclaim for In Camera. I guess that's the only sort of one that didn't really have an international release. I mean, I think it probably did, but it's the only one that's like a British one.
Mm.
So then it's trying to work out who would be the most popular.
See, I always have trouble with this category because usually you have much more of a finger on the pulse of this category because you hear this a lot more than I do or anybody here in this.
But because it's a very, I want to say it's a more international thing, because Marissa, I don't think, has really done that much this year, apart from Back to Black.
Right.
I know she's got some sort of role in Black Bag that's coming out next month.
That trailer looks fantastic.
That's promising for her. David Johnson, I don't know what he's got cooking in terms of future projects. Oh, he's got The Long Walk from Francis Lawrence, so a Stephen King adaptation. And then a British film called Wasteman that he's also exec producing on, apparently, as well, which is interesting. Marissa, I didn't see anything major listed for her. Sorry, no, not Marissa. Jharrel's obviously got a big thing hanging over him because of his portrayal of Miles G. Morales, I guess you can say, the Prowler from the animated Spider-Man things. Mikey Madison's, I think, the only one that really isn't doing anything that I can see. She hasn't committed to another project yet.
Well, there's the Luca movie, but we don't know much about that.
Mm-hmm. And then we know that he's part of a series called Dope Girls that's in production. Series is due to, well, according to the lead actress, the series is due to be broadcast in February. So whether it's airing literally afterwards, and again, I don't know how big of his character is in the sort of thing. It's not. It doesn't seem to be sort of a leading thing. Because I always try and look at it at British skew, but then also who's the one that's got a career set in front of them.
I don't think that matters in some cases.
Yeah, last year I don't think it really was the case because I haven't seen too much of what Mia's been doing since How to Have Sex. I don't think she's really done anything. I know she's part of the Seven Dials mystery, which I think is, that's a Netflix thing by the looks of it, which is obviously tying into Agatha Christie, as you can tell by the name of the thing. But then if you look, Emma Mackey had the sex education following and everything. Lashana Lynch, got it just as she was about to sort of, get big things with Marvel, except, the Marvel sort of fell down. So it's a case of, I'm gonna say Jarell Jerome on this one.
Okay.
Even though I'm probably missing the open goal of missing Naban Rizwan. I'm thinking. It seems to be the most open. I wouldn't mind seeing Mikey because,
No.
give it. Yeah, but keep in mind, you're awarding the act. I always feel this is awarding the actor for the body of work and like being the one to watch. Which
it's the marks
considering
voting.
her stuff with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Scream.
That's fine, but this is not people that are voting. This is the public voting. This means as much as the People's Choice does. So what their body of work doesn't mean anything to some regular Joe Schmo that comes on the street and like, I'm going to vote for this guy.
Yeah, so it's hard to tell. There's nobody that I feel that has like, I don't think a big following. Because a lot of Rizwan stuff has not really been. I mean, I guess he made a big thing in Chaos, but the fact that Netflix killed that before it even had the chance to sort of get momentum. Like, they literally announced it was cancelled like 2 weeks afterwards. It was sort of a bit weird. So yeah, I'll say Jerome.
Okay.
Because this has gone international before. It's not necessarily British talents that do win it.
Right.
Abella and Johnson, I know do have sort of connections to like the stockbroker series industry. I think it is. I think Rizwan had a couple of episodes in it as well. So you could literally say this is the industry award, but not that industry. With how many people from that series are in here this year, at least. But yeah, I'll say Jerome for this one. Just it's strong on paper a list, but it's also I feel a weak on voting for the people that you would want to vote on this. It's more niche than it has been in previous years, I feel.
So I would say Marissa Abella would be more into this if Back to Black did better than it did, because I know she was on the Best Actress lineup, at least for the long list, and that obviously went nowhere. For obvious reasons, I ain't going one direction, and usually we like to split these up a little bit, and sometimes I have been proven wrong and went just what Ashley said because it made sense in my head. Well, I had a choice in mind, and I don't really have any other direction to go with this, and I feel that I'm going to go with David Johnson here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how well that the UK viewers took to Alien Romulus, but apparently he's got a television series that is decently popular that he finished a couple years ago, and now I guess he's in a movie that was really well liked and gave it a British Independent Award nomination. So for that Rye Lane performance, so something tells me that that could be the winner here. But yeah, it seems like it's up in the air. Speaking of up in the air, a new category.
Yeah, the best children and family film.
Why does this category exist, Ashley? What's the point to this category?
Basically, I feel it was done to basically. I think the original intent was so that Paddington could win something.
That's fair.
Because they sort of realised that not every children's and family film is animated. Which is ironic because I'm pretty sure all 4 entries this year are animated.
Yeah, that would be
which
correct.
is a bit awkward. And it's also interesting that there's no actual matchup here directly with the animated stuff. Whereas Flo missed out in the lead animated category, it's made it into children's and family here, along with Kensuke's Kingdom. Along with also the usual suspects of Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. So
no, all 3 got into animated. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh no, Flo did. So yeah,
yes,
they just subbed out Inside Out 2 for Kensuke's Kingdom.
Yes, correct.
Which seems a little weird. But, you know, Kensuke's got all the reception that it did, which isn't too dissimilar to at least if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes thing, percentage-wise, there ain't that much difference in terms of quality there. As I say, I felt that they did this so that they could give some nod to Paddington in Peru or something like that. But it just leaves the option for there to be, if there's a film that is sort of a family-orientated thing that is live action, that isn't the Smurfs. What the hell is that trailer? Yeah, because we really need an influencer Smurf. I think with this one, I'm unsurprisingly going to say Wallace and Gromit on this one.
All right. And I don't need an explanation in this category. I'm just going to go with Wallace and Gromit as well.
Then to the British shorts. For British short feature, I guess if you want to call it that, we have The Flowers Stand Silently, Witnessing, Marion, Milk, Rock, Paper, Scissors, and Stomach Bug. This could go anywhere. So I just went with Harvey and said Milk.
That's fair.
I didn't want to fall into the trap of Marion is exec produced by Kate Blanchett, because BAFTA normally don't care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is the only short film in this lineup that has a Wikipedia page. I also went off the beaten path on this one. And speaking of things that make me sick, Harvey, stomach bug is my choice.
Okay. Then the one that I thought might have been more obvious.
Yeah, but there's one thing that's jumping out at me.
So for short animation, we have Adios, Mog's Christmas, and Wonder to Wonder. I feel Mog's Christmas should be more in with a chance. Even though, at least as it was broadcast here, it's actually like 15 months old, because it was shown, I think, Christmas Eve 2023. I think it's an Apple release for America, possibly. I'm not sure, but I always feel they always go with the one that is Oscar nominated, and because of where Wonder to Wonder's falling, and is like the fact that the Annies recognised it as well for animated short their stuff, I feel it's a no-brainer that BAFTA are probably going to say the same thing.
Yeah, Mog's Christmas jumped out at me immediately, especially with what you said that it on television.
Yeah, it's. I mean, to some extent, most people would have seen Wallace and Gromit that way when it had its Christmas Day airing.
That's true.
Even though I believe it might be available on Netflix as well, even in the UK, even though it's also available for free to watch until, I guess, Christmas Day 2025 on BBC iPlayer. I mean, Mog's Christmas is on Channel 4, which is where it was aired, which still, you can buy it as well, but, you know, the fact that you've got Claire Foy and Benedict Cumberbatch doing voices for Mog's Christmas, you know, it's got the celebrities in as well.
So, yeah, I feel that I also am going to go with the Oscar nominee here and go with Wonder to Wonder.
Then the other British categories that are sort of always sort of out of the way. So first up, for debut by a writer, director, or producer, which is very predominantly directors this year. So we have Luna Car Moon for Horde. Which saw pretty much good success. Kneecap, which stands out quite a bit, from Rich Pepiat, who was writer-director on it. Dev Patel for directing Monkey Man. We have Sandy Asori, writer and director, and two different producers, Jane Bosher and Balthazar de Ganay, for Santosh, which also made the shortlist for the Oscars in terms of foreign language film. And then we have Karan Kandhari, writer and director of the arranged marriage horror that is Sister Midnight. Although it is a comedy horror, which is interesting. This is a good list, to be fair. There's nothing there that I wouldn't object to seeing. But I think because of what else might be going on in other categories, this is most likely the success that Kneecap will be getting, I feel. don't get me wrong, it might be winning other categories. You'll have to see the rest of my predictions, but I feel with the acclaim that got, it probably is. I mean, it's what I've picked, but as I say, there's nothing there. I've heard very good things about all five. Monkey Man was kind of fun in terms of. It kind of felt like this is what Dev wanted to do when he did, what was it called, the Green Man,
Mm.
or Green, was it Green Man or Green Death or something? Green something. Not Green Lantern, no, not that. But yeah, basically a not Keanu Reeves sort of John Wick film.
Green Knight.
Sort of Green Knight, that was it. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, that's I will be I'll be saying kneecap on this one.
Yeah, I'd love to go with Dev Patel here, and maybe in another year I would have. Santosh is also in with a potential consideration, but yeah, there's only one answer to this, and that's kneecap. It's a deserved winner too.
And then to outstanding British film, which is a list of 10, some of which you might be, at least a couple of them you might be wondering, wait, this is British. So we have Bird from Andrea Arnold, Blitz from Steve McQueen, Conclave, at least directed by Edward Berger, Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2, Mike Leigh's Hard Truths, Rich Pepiat's Kneecap, Ellen Kuras's debut for Lee, the Lee Miller, I guess, biopic. Rose Glass's Love Lies Bleeding, which doesn't feel. That's the least. I mean, I guess Rose is English, so. You know, and did Scent More that got all the acclaim. It's just Love Lies Bleeding doesn't feel like a British thing because of the very international cast with that. And then we have Nora Fingschlitt's Outrun, and Nick Park and Merlin Crossingham's Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Foul. For this one, I feel I went with Conclave because quite often the British film that makes it in Best Picture wins here, because then it doesn't win Best Picture. More often than not. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it goes very weird, and that something that didn't make it in the Best Picture list actually gets Best British Film and beats the other one. I could see that with Wallace and Gromit, maybe. Kneecap would be an interesting choice as well. But yeah, I've decided to go with Conclave on this one.
I am happy to say that I've seen 7 of these and had a way to see 9 out of the 10. Wallace and Gromit, making me angry. And liked nearly all of them except for one. You get to decide which one I didn't like. Lots of really great impassioned choices here. I would very happily accept most of them as the winner here. But yeah, Conclave is overly loved by BAFTA with its nomination lineup and the fact that it could change the awards season, hopefully, by the time that next week is over. So yeah, I feel that not only is it going to get outstanding British film, I feel like it ain't done yet. We'll just put it that way.
Certainly, we'll see. Then, if I can find it in my list, it's different. For special visual effects, as we get into the text, we have Better Man, Doom Part 2, Gladiator 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked Part 1. I went with Doom Part 2 on this one. I'm not... I could see it go... Gladiator 2 seems weird because some of the effects in that seem a little rushed. And Better Man, I think, could also take this because of the, you know, all the mocap and everything that was done to make, you know, Robbie into a chimp and all that. But no, I'm gonna go with. To be honest, just the whole sort of. The fact that you took the iconic sandworm scene from Lynch's Dune and made it look even more sort of incredible with no practical stuff. Although upon hearing what bloody Christopher Nolan's going to be doing with the Odyssey, dear God, that might be winning if that film comes out in 2026. I'll mention that at the end. Nolan's being crazy. But yeah, I've gone with Dune on this one.
Dune won last time, and part of me thought about going with Better Man because if I look at correct, and I feel like I have, it's the only nomination for Better Man for the entire show. But yeah, it feels wrong to go against Dune, so I'm not going to.
Then to sound, where we have Blitz, Doom Part 2, Gladiator 2, The Substance, and Wicked. Take out monkeys and bring in something that changes your life. I've gone with Dune again on this one, but I there's a chance that Substance or Wicked might take this, I think. Because with sound being as it is, it's a sort of case of, you know, how to mix the sort of audio right for the musical bits of Wicked where they aren't doing the talking. That certainly could fall into it, but I went again with Dune on this one.
Yeah, it's going to be
I think I see the other ones.
Yeah.
It's nice to see Blitz here, but also, what?
It's going to be a really good night for Dune. Really good night for Dune. That's all I need to say.
Then to production design, where we have Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Oh. Again, this is tough because I'm saying Conclave on this one just for the whole aspect of basically making it look like the Catholic Church lives in a prison. Even though it's nothing like that, apparently. Just that whole aspect of getting that sort of scene right and everything. With the sort of, as if like the airless sort of rooms, like when the doors close, it's like, it's like hermetically sealed. So yeah, I've gone with Conclave on that one.
My original go-to here was going to be like flip coin 5 different times and just figure it out from there. Because technically speaking, any of these 5 could win.
Yeah, they're all strong contenders.
Yeah, especially for this category. If I had to go with Nosferatu, this is not the one I would give it. And same with Wicked. And to be fair, same with The Brutalist. Yeah, it's a good night for Dune, but it's going to be a better night for Conclave. I agree with Ashley.
Next, we move to score, where we have Daniel Bloomberg for The Brutalist, Volker Bertelmann for Conclave, Camille and Clement Ducol for Amelia Perez, Robin Carolan for Nosferatu, and Chris Bowers for The Wild Robot. This is also... this is tough, because again, I feel that any one of the five could actually win this. Because Nosferatu's score is really nice. Just really sets the aura well. Wild Robots has been getting the acclaim that it deserves. So has Brutalist, so has Conclave. And despite my misgivings about the penis to vagina song over the season so far, I appreciate sort of the work that's gone into the songs that have been written for Amelia Perez. I've decided to... yeah, I'll stick with Conclave on this one. I'm umming and erring between that and Brutalist. Just because every time I saw that Brutalist trailer, I would just heard the and I was like, oh well, that's just for the trailer to sort of be some grand music, and it's like, no, it's pretty much there for the entirety of the 3.5 hours.
Yeah, also being played right as you go into intermission too.
Yeah, badly on piano like it's chopsticks.
Yeah, we're about to find out if this is the fall of Amelia Perez or not, because this is the first award show that has happened since everything went down. And I mean, went down. So we'll see if somebody's bulletproof later on tonight. But yeah, it's down to Bertelmann and Blumberg at this point. Chris Bowers is a dark horse, but I don't think that's really a great way to put it, because Bowers has won a couple times already this season. I too am going to go with Conclave, because again, like I said, it'll be a decent night for Dune. It's going to be a much better night for Conclave.
Let me just post that on there. So next to makeup and hair, where we have Dune, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Oh. This really... this could... Amelia Perez is the one that I'm sort of not considering.
I don't trust anything about it right now. That's the problem.
Even though, you know, it does have some very nice hair and sort of... you know,
there's literally one answer
makeup.
You just got to pull the trigger on it.
Traditional makeup. Because obviously... with the other four, it's really sort of the best prosthetics department, but that, because of course, falls into the category, because you've got Doom with how they changed Austin Butler, you've got Nosferatu with how they changed Skarsgård, you've got Substance with how they
change everything,
changed more and changed your life, and then Wicked as well with the pretty nice aspect of like making it sort of not be openly green on Symphony of Evo. You know, you could sort of still tell they were trying to do it with like the right tone, that it feels like they are still trying to express it's a black woman playing the role and not, you know, Idina Menzel. Not that I'm trying to copy the guilds here, but I feel I'm going to go with Substance on this one. But again, I feel I'm not just counting Amelia Perez because of everything. This is one that I always felt was on the cusp, because the work and the attention that went into all the prosthetics for the other four feels like it deserves more attention and recognition than the work that happened on Amelia Perez, even though it was pretty nice.
This is the first of many and much deserved wins for The Substance.
Then, editing. I need to find it in the thing. Oh, there it is.
It's right next to makeup and hair.
Yeah. No, but on my sheet, it's. I thought it was somewhere else, but it also is literally right next to makeup and hair. So we have Anora, Conclave, Dune, Part 2, Amelia Perez, and Kneecap. Oh. It's hard because I kind of want to say Amelia Perez because fair bits of that are very sort of like a lot of cuts, but sometimes, you know, I feel most of the time editing isn't just about the cuts. Thanks, Bohemian Rhapsody. So for this one, I've decided to say Kneecap, because that does also, with the pace of that film, is that sort of very hard edited as well.
You know, I would be very happy to be wrong in this category if that it would happen. I'm very happy I got to view Kneecap in the theater. That was a really fun experience this past year. And I've seen 4 out of the 5. Yes, Amelia Perez still hangs over my head like a freaking albatross. Mm-hmm. And I will not see that movie for another 10 days at the earliest. Because everyone knows I don't stream and I'm not going to. This picture is not meant to be watched on a tiny screen. No matter if you have a Frank's 2000-inch TV or not, you need to go see it in a theater, even if it's just yourself. That being said, Kneecap could win editing. But I'm going to go with Conclave here.
Yeah, I see that happening as well. By the way, because you were saying about TV screens and whatever, if those of you never got the chance to see it on the big screen, this weekend is a nice touch for those of you that do want to watch Flow, because they're sticking it on Max on Friday, and then they're literally showing it on HBO at 6:30 in the early evening on the HBO main channel, just there for you to watch.
Extremely a shame that if you didn't get to see it in a theater, because it was an amazing theatrical experience as well, just getting to see that movie like it was meant to be seen. Right, costume design.
Yeah, costume design. We have the veteran that is Jacqueline Duran. For Blitz, Ariane Phillips, also a veteran, but I don't think has won for her work on A Complete Unknown. Lacey Crystal for Conclave. Linda Muir, who I think also got a debut nomination here for Nosferatu. And Paul Tazewell, who at this rate is probably trying to get an EGOT, except he won't be able to because of I don't think they do costumes for Grammys. But the fact that he already has an Emmy and a Tony in his belt for Hamilton and The Wiz Live, respectively. Yeah. Wicked has won a fair few. It obviously won Fantasy at the Costume Designers Guild, and
right.
Critics' Choice gave it a nod and whatever. I think with this one, I'm gonna go A Complete Unknown.
Interesting.
I can certainly see it's probably, you know, me as usual missing an open goal, and I should be just saying Tazewell because of the history. But you know, with Ariane sort of, you know, being recognised for, I think BAFTA nominated her for a single man, and then in terms of Oscars, there is a bit of a crossover later on. She got nominated for Walk the Line and nominated for WE, and then the Oscars and the BAFTAs match up on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and the pending result on Complete Unknown. And it is weird as well that she's never won a Costume Designers Guild Award. But yeah, because I think it might be one of the only chances for a Complete Unknown to get some sort of recognition over here. And I feel it should, because let me just double check. UK top 15 releases. Yeah, a Complete Unknown only just fell to in its 4th week of release, only fell to number 2 this week in the charts because Dogman came out.
God.
Which I find fascinating, because once the cinema near me showed it for a week, then barely showed it for the 2nd week, and then for the 3rd week they all of a sudden gained, you know, momentum. They thought it was going to be, oh well, nobody's going to want to see it, and then people kept seeing it, which is another thing we'll discuss in the sort of the post show and read your comments, because this weekend at UK cinemas could be going crazy, which we'll discuss about. But yeah, I'll say a Complete Unknown on this one.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't like the fact that this could be the only thing it could win. I don't know, I guess I'm just going to go safe here. I'm going to go with Tazewell.
Yeah.
Which also could be the only thing Wicked could win.
Maybe, yeah.
Potentially.
Then we move on to cinematography, where we have Lol Crawley for Brutalist, Stefan Fontaine for Conclave, Greg Fraser for Doom Part 2, Paul Guillaume for Amelia Perez, and Jarin Blaschke for Nosferatu. Again, tough, because all these have got very nice sort of nice scenes where it's a case of, you know, that they'll, as long as they have a video package for them, they probably will. Like, there's all those scenes where you go, that'll be in the, you know, like for actors, when it's like that's the scene that they'll use for the Vox Pop. There's all the different shots where, you know, well, that's what they'll probably use if they want to do a montage of scenes from the movie to show the cinematography. I decided to go with Nosferatu on this one, but again, I could really see any of the 5 win it.
Well, I made it pretty clear on here a while back that I guess I just don't jive with Robert Eggers' work. Most of it just doesn't really work for me. I guess just how it is. I wasn't a fan of Nosferatu at all. But I did say here numerous times, and I will reiterate this statement once more. If there's any category it deserves to win, it's cinematography. Those scenes are like paintings come to life.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'm going with The Brutalist.
That's the same, to be fair.
Yes, it totally is.
Some of those shots have certainly, I know it gets to the awkward bit where we get, Mr. Pierce, what are you doing? Don't do that.
No.
But yeah, some of those shots where they show the open, you know, the open sort of wide vastness of the marble, I was going to say vault, the marble mining sort of area. It's sort of, you know, really nice.
And I feel that that's like that scene you're referring to, which of course, like for someone like Brian's in our chat right now, completely kayfabes these things for the time being until he actually gets to watch the movies after the season's over. But that scene that you're referring to with Mr. Pierce, I really couldn't even tell what was going on until it was happening. That's how
Yeah.
well that scene was shot. So yeah, I'm going with the Brutalist here.
Next, we move on to casting.
I like this category.
We have, yeah, we have Honora, we have The Apprentice, we have A Complete Unknown, we have Conclave, and we have Kneecap. If you're noticing anything, whenever a certain individual is nominated, I'm not listing the names.
Yep.
It'll get a bit more awkward when we get to, ones where I do have to do it.
There's ways around things.
Well, I probably won't for the other things. It's just for everything else. It's like, yeah, you've had enough credit, mate.
For them, literally. Watch the video from yesterday. The thing is, some of these movies are some of my favorite movies of 2024. Honestly.
Yeah. And of course, this is the interesting aspect, because obviously when we get to 12 months' time, we'll be getting a similar aspect of this to the 24th category at the Oscars, because that's when casting comes in. So,
officially,
on that logic, going Hollywood, I decided to go with A Complete Unknown because you can kind of really tell a lot of the casting was really done upon the aspect of how well can you do the voice. Like Boyd Holbrook does a very good job of portraying Cash.
Yes.
Whether you don't like his performance or not, casting-wise, I feel Norton does a very good job of portraying Seeger.
For sure.
Even though he doesn't say anything. Scoot does a very good job as what's his name? Had a brain fart. Woody Guthrie. And I feel that might have been maybe the reason why what's her name? Maria Barbaro.
Yeah.
Probably got, Monica Barbaro, got the gig for Joan Baez. Because, of course, with Elle Fanning, because she isn't technically portraying the person that it's portrayed around, it's sort of, a idealized version of her, at least certainly in the name, for sure. Yeah, I feel that that obviously was a key thing of getting the right cast for all the sort of celebrity portrayals and everything, and getting the right essence of it. That being said, I could see Apprentice doing the same.
I'd love that.
Conclave is obviously an option as well, and I don't know where to feel on Kneecap, because a lot of that just feels like it's just Kneecap being Kneecap.
It's just
there was some casting
exactly.
as well.
Sure.
But yeah, I've decided to go with A Complete Unknown on this one.
I like your way of thinking a lot. I really do. And, honestly, I'll be okay to lose that point to you. Very happy if we go with Apprentice. Very happy if they go with Kneecap. Again, I'd be super happy if A Complete Unknown won. But again, I think in order to make a bold choice, I'm going to later, potentially, You'll have to wait and find out. I'm going to go with Conclave here. Because at the end of the day, whether you give the victory to Conclave's cast one by one, or you just give it to everybody all at once, at least one of the above is going to happen at the BAFTAs. I truly believe it. This next one is not as easy as you think it is.
Yeah, best film not in the English language. Where we have All We Imagine Is Light, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Kneecap, and Seed of the Sacred Fig.
This is when we find out what this controversy is all about.
Well, if it
because
is...
there's an easy answer to this before everything started, and it still might be the same thing, but what if it's not?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I can see any of the 5 winning.
I can too.
There's nothing. I'm Still Here is always sort of the outlier to some extent, because I really don't have that much to go on it, because its release date over here I think is like the end of the month. Because foreign films are exempt from the having to release before the award ceremony happens.
It belongs here.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I mean, the fact that it made it in for the Oscars Best Picture
I mean,
shows you it belongs at least in the hunt.
Not necessarily, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. I probably took the wrong way and went with Kneecap.
Okay.
I would not be surprised if All We Imagine Is Light causes the quote-unquote upset here as well. And get something. But yeah, I just went with Kneecap on this one.
I think we're both going to lose the point on this one. And that's, as Stuart Smalley would say, is okay. The one I really want to go for here is Seed of the Sacred Fig, which is an interesting run and an interesting ride for the beginning to end. It's got a really fun ending that I very much enjoyed. And it's a lot of really good twists and turns. All We Imagine Is Light is something I have not got a chance to see yet. We talked about Amelia Perez already. I'm Still Here belongs here. I love Kneecap, and I love the fact you went with Kneecap, because that's either A, I get an easy point, or B, I'm wrong, and that's awesome that Kneecap wins. I'm actually going to go with I'm Still Here on this one. And I think this might be when the balance of international film or film not in the English language starts to shift a bit. Now, of course, this could all just be gobbledygook, and it could be Amelia Perez, and it doesn't matter. Controversy doesn't mean anything. Like Eric Bischoff said, controversy creates cash. But also, controversy creates Oscar winners, too. So, sometimes. So, we're going to find out if that's the case or not. But yeah, I feel I'm Still Here is when it's going to start doing something, but not what people were warning me about. I'm not going to will that into existence. To documentary we go.
So you're saying I'm Still Here, just double checking.
I am saying I'm Still Here. I probably should say Amelia Perez, but yeah.
So yeah, it's a documentary. We have Black Box Diaries, Daughters, No Other Land, Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, and Will and Harper. Would be a very strong Oscars list, to be fair, as well. So because of that, I think they're going with the one that is nowhere near the Oscars, and that's Superman. What I saw of Black Box Diaries, it's a very interesting story, but the fact that also there's controversy about whether it sort of didn't respect sources' anonymity that was supposed to be granted leaves me a little questionable about that. I feel if no other land takes this, it probably moves into being a strong contender.
It could be.
For carrying through. But yeah, it does feel that sort of, certainly the way it was portrayed, and as I said before, the fact that it had a pretty wide UK release in theatres, not just in America, multiple times and whatever. I feel that's the sort of also more interesting story as well. The fact that Superman kind of literally became a Superman of sorts.
It's good too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy to say it was a theatrical viewing that I got. It didn't last more than a week in my cinema, but I at least got to see it.
I mean,
Originally wanted
the fact that it made, National Board of Review's 5 documentaries as well. Ironically, along with Black Box Diaries and Will and Harper.
My immediate go-to here was Daughters.
Mm-hmm.
But something just tells me to choose Black Box Diaries on this, so I guess I'm just going to go with that.
Okay. Yeah, I can foresee that. Then,
Animated.
if I find it, yeah, it's further down in my list, next to short animation. So yeah, for animated we have Flow, Inside Out 2, Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Yeah, I'm gonna change that. I was gonna say Wild Robot, and I'm just wondering whether they're gonna go with Flow. This is an open goal again. When this, the fact that this entire season, and probably for the Oscars, I will say Wallace and Gromit as well. And then for the BAFTA one, I'm not going to say Wallace and Gromit, and that's when it'll bloody win it. But I always feel, because of the children's film, whether it's got more of a chance of winning there. If anything, I probably should have said Wild Robot was best children's film, and Wallace and Gromit is what would have won here, but screw it, I'll say Flow. See if we can have an upset.
I wouldn't call it an upset anymore.
Well, no, something that means that, because I always say never rule out Wallace and Gromit, because certainly in a list of, because I'm trying to remember what else is in the Oscars list. I'm trying to remember what's the other outlier. Scroll.
Moana 2?
No, Memoir of a Snail.
That is the correct answer, but no one's even looking at it. Memoir of a Snail should be more in the conversation.
So I'm trying to remember as well. Is it? Hang on, there it is. I'm trying to remember if Memoir of a Snail. Oh no, Memoir of a Snail is stop motion, just like Wallace and Gromit is.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have Wallace and Gromit having the sort of the uniqueness of being the actual one made by people, as opposed to the CGI stuff that Wild Robot is and Flow is, and Inside Out 2 is. Yeah.
The reason why there's a children's and family film category is so Wallace and Gromit doesn't go home empty-handed. The winner here is Flow.
So, we now move to the 8, I guess, as we describe them.
Important things.
And, the last time we talk, well, until we get to picture/film, the last time where we talk about 5 entries as well. So in the screenplays, first up for adapted, we have Audiard for Amelia Perez, Jocelyn Barnes and Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys, Clint Bentley, Greg Quadder, John Devine G. Whitfield, and Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, Jay Cox and James Mangold for Complete Unknown, and, unsurprisingly, my selection, because it feels like he's been walking away with it for most of the season in the various places, and that is Peter Straughn's script for Conclave.
Yeah, it's a shame that Sing Sing's not more in this. And to be fair, it's the only rightful winner other than Peter Straughan, for sure. The gimmick to Nickel Boys being the way that it's shot, not the way that it is written. And again, no knowledge about Amelia Perez, so I can't say anything. But yeah, Conclave has been pretty dominant all season. I don't see a reason for that to change at the very end.
And then for original,
Ooh.
for original we have Sean Baker for Honora ?
Based on the novel Strawberry by AJ.
Oh no, like, is it original or is it root?
Watched the video from yesterday.
Bradley Corbet and Mona Fastval for The Brutalist, Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain, Coralie Farge for Substance, and Rich Pepier and Kneecap for Kneecap, because I don't want to try saying those names because I will probably massacre them because I'm not entirely into the Irish dialect.
A lot of accent marks.
Yeah. I mean,
Nope.
I think I understand J.J. O'Doherty.
That's right.
It's just O'Doherty, or O'Doherty isn't spelt the sort of traditional way that most people would know it, but
this is tough, actually, honestly.
The fact that AJ even says that sort of the concept is very room-esque makes me feel that Honora probably isn't in this.
I don't think so.
I don't know whether A Real Pain's in this, because I feel like I've seen a lot of things about that. Even though obviously it's a personal thing for Eisenberg.
It should be, like AJ said, and I'll continue to champion his thought process throughout the rest of the season because he's right. A Real Pain should be a lot more in this conversation than it actually is.
Kneecap is an interesting show here, but I feel it's between Brutalist and Substance. Brutalist, just with the whole vastness of that script, all the different ways you think it's going and whatever.
It's a 4-hour movie that didn't put me to sleep. Kudos, Brady.
If you want the epitome of original,
yes,
I feel Substance is just like as original as you can get, you know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, okay, it's taking aspects that we've seen from, you know, Cronenberg and that sort of body horror style things that we have seen before, but turns it up to 11 stupid, as Mark Commode would say.
It Cabin in the Woods, the body horror genre.
So yeah, I think The Substance will change my life. Maybe.
To be grammatically incorrect, because I hate doing this, It already did. And the correct answer, the right answer, and should propel for the rest of the season because the WGA means as much as my feelings do. Corley, of course.
As soon as I heard the word about it, because it obviously took a while for it to release over here, you'd still say that I'm bitter that we're not getting the bloody home media release of it until bloody June.
You know what bothers me? It's the only movie. Well, I can't count Amelia Perez because it doesn't play in AMC theaters. But The Substance is the only picture nominee that is not in my local Cineplex this coming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
On the weekend that I want to get away from everything and everyone and just try to enjoy movies I know I enjoy, and Paddington, because I love Paddington, to try to calm myself. No, I can't watch The Substance anymore in a theater until
the week
later
after,
this month.
hopefully.
I'll get another theatrical viewing of it, mark my words.
So then we move to the 6th for everything bar the picture. So, for supporting actress, we have Selena Gomez for Amelia Perez, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. I've said Saldana, but if there's enough of a wave of momentum with it, if somehow everything that bloody Carla has done means this film gets nothing at the Oscars, which I'd say is somewhat unlikely with Song being there and whatever.
I wouldn't say that right now. You never know. They could always go with
realistically
instead.
is the opportunity. This realistically is the opportunity that the one I see that could be the upsetter is Rossellini.
Yep.
Which then, given that we're obviously will be 2 weeks away as of that point from the red carpet sort of starting. Whether that means Rossellini then moves into the hunt more so, will be an interesting moral quandary, because I didn't want to say dilemma. Thanks, Ron Howard. I will say Saldana on this one, but if Zoe doesn't, I feel this could be a case of, SAG could change it, but then, because SAG is part popularity contest, I feel Zoe is like somebody that's liked enough that she might go through SAG anyway. So this is the only thing that I think, if Zoe doesn't win, I'd say it's more of it's more of a question whether she just gets the Oscar rather than just sweeping the whole season.
I've been thinking about this, and I've been wondering if I wanted to pull the trigger on this. This is going to prove if Saldana's bulletproof. No matter what else happens, this is how we know if Saldana is the only one that comes out unscathed. And I feel that very well could be the case. Everybody's got paint on their hands right now, if you know what I mean. Except Saldana. I'd say Selena Gomez, but the problem with her is that she's never been in the race. But Grande needs to get the upset here, but it's not going to happen. Curtis winning, despite what I thought of her movie a couple years ago, I'd be okay with. But any love for The Last Showgirl, I'm totally good with. I don't like Felicity Jones and the Brutalist at all. And wouldn't have nominated her either. I really, until right before we started, I was going to swing for the fences and say Rossellini here. And it's very possible. But I feel that Saldana is bulletproof. And until I am proven incorrect, she has no competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
So prove me wrong, voters that made a mistake already. I don't think you will. Saldana wins.
For supporting actor, we have Yura Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing as himself, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice.
So happy that we made that happen. Thank you. You're very welcome, Jeremy Strong. For Popcast Network willing into existence, your Oscar nomination and also BAFTA.
I feel it's the fact that, the fact that it barely got much of a release in America, means I guess it's more of a surprise. But the fact that, as I say, that film, that sort of film would be, if it's an awards thing, it wouldn't be on at my local cinema for sort of 5 straight weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And there were sort of other big-ish releases happening around that time as well. So it wasn't like it was a case of like what's happening this week when you've got, 2 giant, monoliths in Bridget Jones and Captain America taking up at least 5 of the 7 screens at my local.
Makes sense.
Like a handful of showings of like other kids' films, such as, the Sonics, and I think Paddington's moving to sort of the kids' club sort of thing. But there's a handful of showings of September 5, but that's about it. It's pretty much just the other 2. The fact, the Apprentice got the recognition and sort of the staying power that it did means there is something here, and I could, if Strong wins this,
that'd be great.
This makes it an interesting, because I feel that when we get to the Oscars, Culkin's in with a chance.
No, seriously, man, there is no competition for Culkin right now at all.
Pierce is in with a chance, and then
I don't. He's got to win BAFTA in order for him to get in this.
Yeah. That being said, I still said Culkin.
Yes.
Culkin. I know, some people are saying, Culkin in his lead role and whatever.
Well, yeah.
It's hard. I do sort of feel it is a co-lead.
We're going to have supporting actor and actress go to their leads of their respective movies. That's just how this year's going.
Yeah.
And that's right. That's how it should be. Now, I've been saying Macklin's day one. I was so happy when I came out of Sing Sing. I love that performance so much. Very glad that he finally got his due. Culkin has no competition at all. Again, pretty much bulletproof this whole season. He has to lose to Guy Pearce here or at SAG for there to be any sort of doubt in anyone's mind that he's going to lose the Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. Kieran Culkin.
Then for leading actress, we have Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, even though that'll be a still picture.
Yeah, probably an unflattering one too, if I had to guess.
Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun.
There's a couple directions you can go with this.
Yeah, there could be momentum enough for British Q to happen here.
God, I hope not.
And,
That's the worst.
and,
That's the second worst thing it could possibly be.
and John Baptiste gets it.
Oh, the character is abhorrent. But that's the point.
Idea, though. That's the problem.
No, I know it's the point. That's probably why I didn't
Donald
like the movie.
Trump.
I don't mess with Mike Lee, though.
You know, the depiction of Donald Trump in The Apprentice is basically pansy and hard truth.
No, Roy Cohn in The Apprentice is basically pansy and hard truth. Trump does not come off bad in The Apprentice. Roy Cohn comes off as what we believe Trump to be at that time.
Yeah, what Trump maybe
was trying to emulate.
Possibly. I'm saying more here just because I feel that, you know, it needs to continue, but
Yes.
if there's anything with British skew that's going to happen on the female front, considering, you know, how we only have Felicity Jones in the other one, sort of a bit tougher. I can see John Baptiste getting it here, though, from the BAFTA members. I'm still saying more, but
I very, 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 very much hope you're wrong. And I feel that you are, so that makes me feel better. Ronan should be a lot more in this than she is. But I don't know how well the UK viewership took to the Outrun. It's a heavy-handed role, but most of these performances are heavy-handed. At least a few of them. The ones that are actually contending. And then Cynthia Erivo, who we'll probably get her due after For Good comes out. And, you know, it keeps on a-rolling. That Moore train just keeps on a-rolling. And I think it's going to roll right through the BAFTAs, right through SAG, and right to the Oscars where it belongs.
Then for leading actor, we have Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Common Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, Hugh Grant for Heretic, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. Oh.
There's two directions to go with this, and I think you know where you're supposed to go. Do you go obvious or do you go impassioned?
Yeah. I mean, I feel Grant and Stan are maybe sort of the ones making up the numbers. Because I can see Brody winning, I can see Chalamet winning, I can honestly see Domingo winning if they feel passionate enough about it.
Be nice.
And I wouldn't rule Rafe out because,
nope.
Again, that could be sort of a career thing for him. Because I'm trying to, did he win a BAFTA for English Patient back in the day? I'm trying to remember. No, he won for Schindler's List 30 years ago. But yeah, got nothing for English Patient or Ended the Affair or Constant Gardener. And then, of course, you know, the most recently Grand Budapest.
He's due a win.
Yeah. So screw it. Let's say Rafe. Let's see if we have something interesting here. Have it literally be a case that I mean, okay, I think critics matched up the Globes, didn't it, with Brody winning, but whether we've got a chance that, you know, Chalamet or Domingo take you know, one each of the Oscar and or SAG will be interesting.
I just love how I make this statement every single time Ashley tries to dun the party on something that I'm going to say, and state one more time, He has not read my predictions. I have not seen his. This has always been a 2-horse race for me. And usually it'd be between Brody and Chalamet. Chalamet's last chance is SAG. If Chalamet can't win SAG, Brody's winning the Oscar. I don't see any way around it. Not a problem with that. I like Brody, don't get me wrong. The performance is fine. It's not the one I'd go with, but I mean, I'd go with Chalamet or even Coleman Domingo. But yeah, it feels like it's appropriate to say that great night for Conclave. Ralph Fiennes, Best Actor.
I feel Brody sort of really turns the corner for me in terms of how much I really like his portrayal is
It's
after
fine.
that said scene with Van Buren, because then throughout of it, for that last sort of half an hour, you're trying to work out whether everything that he's sort of doing, his sort of breakdown and everything,
is
for sure PTSD from what happened, or whether it's just a case of everything else culminating around him. You know, and the reason why I like that just film as a whole is there's a lot of grey areas where we really don't make it clear as to things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that scene where it's like, no, I think we know what's happening there. So you're saying Rafe as well for the
I am saying Rafe, yes.
So, moving on to director. We have Jack Audiard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Nora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Bradley Corbet for The Brutalist, Carly Farge for The Substance, and thanks for coming, Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2.
Definitely the outlier in this lineup.
Again, just because the Globe is probably swaying me too much, but my pick probably for most of this season is going to be Corbet.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you're going with?
Yeah, I just feel, as I say, the fact that he wanted to see the vision through and others didn't, and he was adamant that it was going to happen, and by sure he made sure he did it. I feel that that's going to get at least some recognition. I thought that was a shoe-in with the DGAs, and then we saw what happened there. So
no.
I know.
Guilds mean nothing. And they're going to mean nothing here too. Yeah, Corbet's the answer here. It's not the right answer, but it could be worse. Now the thing is, weirdly enough, I thought about going with Berger here, but I've given a lot of love to Conclave. I basically gave Brody's BAFTA to Ralph Fiennes, so have to spread the love out just a little bit. And honestly, even though we're getting ahead of ourselves, if James Mangold was in here instead of Villeneuve, then I feel like A Complete Unknown would be more of a challenger here, but it's not, because it's not even here. Corley would be the right answer. It's the answer that should happen. Weirdly enough, for all the like and hate it's had all season, Audiard's been the one that's been the outlier. They've never really been in the directing race at all. They just thanks for coming. Here's a check mark. Here's your participation ribbon. And yeah, there's really no reason to say anything further. It's Corbet. out of film.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, okay, I thought you were gone for a second there. Don't forget I can't see.
For those of you sort of not in the loop, Owen can't see me, so all he can tell is hear sounds and like, oh, what's happening?
I see Mickey Mouse's buttocks and a grenade for some random reason, and that's all I can see right now.
So, for best film, as it's listed for the BAFTA Film Award,
Yeah, at least that's what they think is the best film.
we have Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, and Amelia Perez. Other letters going from the letter F do not exist, apparently.
Coincidence? Counter.
This is...
I have it down to 2, and I would say A Complete Unknown would be more in this if Mangold was in director, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Amelia Perez has got a chance in hell, and I'm not even going to dignify anything else with the response.
Yeah.
But if it happens the other way versus the one way versus the other way, if one thing happens, then it could change something else's trajectory for the rest of the season, potentially. Or solidify what we've known for months that everybody else keeps forgetting about. Depending on who you are when you're having these conversations.
I will say Brutalist on this one.
Okay.
Just because I think Conclave has got more of a chance in some of the other categories. I don't think they'll sort of follow through with it. Because again, I feel the story of the making of the Brutalist is... I wouldn't be surprised if we get... If when that does get a physical media release, which we now know will include the interval, so it won't be like a cinema exclusive. So even the people will be able to have a toilet break while the DVD plays or the Blu-ray.
How many people are going to actually take that legitimate break the exact way they did in the theater, the exact way that we did in the theater?
I could see Conclave doing it, even though technically one of the producers got the Lifetime Achievement Award for her work on God knows how much, British stuff. Her sort of her exec produced credit of note started with Billy Elliot and has basically gone on for, I was gonna say, I don't know what, I'd have to look at her IMDb, but like she was very prolific sort of for a decade or so. Partially because she was the figurehead for Film 4 for a number of years. I don't know how much she did between her leaving the post for various things and whatever between there. Oh no, she's done she was a producer on Iron Claw, exec producer on Zone of Interest, a fair bit of TV stuff as well, exec producer on They Shall Not Grow Old. So yeah, she sort of took a step back from doing producing for a few years. But yeah, the fact she did Iron Claw and Bird and Conclave in the last year or so, she's gone back to being active to some extent, at least. But no, I will stick with Brutalist on this one.
Yeah, I feel this is the one, and this is when the doubts are ended. Anybody that thinks there is a so-called front runner that's just used what we've had so far to judge that, they're wrong, because there's no front runner right now. But after this and SAG, we're going to have finally a front runner, and again, what we've known all along, the elephant in the room has always been, this has always been the Brutalists' year. And it will continue to be.
So yeah, this is where I make the startling revelation to Owen. Because it's legit like news stories and people were picking up on it, even sort of on the radio when they were talking about film reviews for like the upcoming week. They brought it up. Apparently, pre-sale tickets for the fourth Bridget Jones movie are doing better than the pre-sales at this point for Barbie 2 years ago.
I don't get it, but
in there are like multiple cinemas near me that have sellouts or near sellouts.
I don't get it, but obviously it has a fan base.
To clarify, there's little to no sellouts for the Captain America thing, even though it's pretty much opening sort of the same day, even though Bridget is actually opening this Thursday. I guess trying to be... Is the Thursday before... Don't they, like... Is Galentine's Day supposed to be, like, the day before Valentine's Day? I can't remember.
I stay completely away from all that stuff for obvious reasons, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Or necessarily care. I will say that for us, it's Paddington and Captain America NWO.
Yeah.
Which will always be what it's called. I don't care what the title is. That's what it originally was called. And I may live in the U.S., but it's still Zootropolis because that sounds better than Zootopia.
I just call it Captain America Harrison Ford Turns Red.
I don't even care this movie at all. I'm not even watching it this weekend. I'm watching Paddington. Mm-hmm. That's all I care about this weekend is watching Paddington and trying to get my head straight.
Yeah, the fact that the indies as well as the sort of mainstream stuff are having so many screenings for just two sort of big things, which means Dogman barely gets a shoe in, even though that's new and that's sort of really the half-term movie, I guess, that as the kids thing, at least over here. So we'll see how it goes. In chat,
hi everyone.
Spencer
we didn't forget you. We
says,
just
I saw the TV glow.
Such a great movie. We'll talk about that during our if we chose the Oscars. Me and AJ both have a lot of things to say about it. I saw the TV glow.
Joe says last night I watched Carry On Loving and was a lot of fun.
Continuation of the Carry On
series. If you're trying
to
look through them, I fear where your mind will go when we get to some of the latter ones. Especially bloody Carry On Columbus and Carry On Emmanuel. Which is the main reason why I think the Carry On franchise is not looked as great. Because some of those latter ones felt just very sort of what the hell.
I don't know. When I hear the name Emmanuel, the only thing that comes to my mind, sadly, is Cinemax at 2:30 in the morning in the 90s.
Oh, don't worry. That's what it was trying to be.
Except I figured that.
You try and do that with Kenneth Williams, and it's like, what? Carl Trudell says, vote a Timothy Chalamet.
Thanks, Carl.
I approve of that. Josie just finished reading The Girl Who Lost Her Shadow and says it's a great book from Emily Eilert. Bryce says I haven't seen the video yet because I don't know if you guys went into spoilers for both films.
Not as much as you would expect.
I mean, I guess there's sort of spoilers for what AJ was proposing for his script. He details that, but not really for either of the films referenced.
Especially the first one.
Won't be interacting as much because I'm Bry's editing the WGA and BAFTA prediction video. BAFTA's the last major ceremony before the final Oscar voting, which ends a week today. So Tuesday the 19th. No.
You're going to find out if Amelia Perez is bulletproof or not.
I mean, to some extent, I'm trying to remember. Did they did extend the voting period, didn't they, when Critics' Choice got moved, I think?
I think so. Actually, they did, actually. I do know that.
Or was that the nominations? Was that the Oscar noms? I can't remember.
I thought it was actually moved.
Yeah. Carry On reboot should be Carry On Conclave set in a church. Then again, I don't know whether the Carry On style humour would carry.
But I'm bum-ching.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, I don't know whether that style. You know, I've seen sort of the Dad's Army reboot. Well, reimagining that they did with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Toby Jones and other people that aren't called Jones, but Tom Stoppard. No, not Tom Stoppard. Tom. Oh, what's his name? Brainfart. The one plays Corporal Jones, but that's the character, not the actor. I passed it mentioning about my audio being low. It's only because I'm sitting back here because I'm on the verge of trying to go to sleep because it's nearly 1 in the morning for me. The caffeine has not kicked in yet or ever. What about the Lilo and Stitch remake of Stitch running about the field?
I haven't seen it. I didn't watch the game, obviously. I don't like sports, but I mean, my God, just the fact that this exists is not right. We don't need live action Disney remakes. I'm sorry, I'm done with this. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't.
Joey says your BAFTA's had a cooking award for movies that feature cooking. If so, Owen, would you give that to We Live in Time?
I'd be happy to give an award to We Live in Time.
I feel it should go to Wallace and Gromit.
Well, the menu comes to mind too, so there you go.
Well, no, for this year's releases.
I wouldn't know.
The contraption that's adapted from like the original one, that makes the toast with the jam and the toast with the peanut butter and the toast with the marmalade, rather than just one.
Maybe blink twice. I don't know.
Josie says I wouldn't be surprised if Rossellini won at BAFTA. Yeah, if Flo wins animated and children's film, watch out.
I'd be happy if Flo wins anything at this point.
And then a fair bunch of parsnip stuff. I love A Complete Unknown, and Norton was okay, but his character was kind of a wimp. To some extent, I feel that was Seeger's attitude towards a lot of things.
He's very similar to
the fact
way
that he was in the courtroom being threatened for all he was, and he was just like, I'm going to play a song.
His character from Death of Smoochy is very similar to how he played Pete Seeger.
What language is Kneecap in? It's in Irish.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, there's a fair bit in English as well.
Yeah.
But there's some of it that is in, I guess, Gaelic it might be described as. Even though because there is Scots Gaelic and Welsh Gaelic. But certainly the traditional Irish language, which is a key subject point of the film as well.
Really good, too. Like I said, it is literally Irish before.
I'm Still Here is winning. Okay.
You know, it's possible.
Yeah. The reviews I've seen call it a masterpiece.
I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece, but Torres deserves her nomination. She just needs to keep from taking the Oscar away from Demi Moore, and I'm fine.
Speaking of Cash, A Complete Unknown should have had Joaquin Phoenix play it. I mean, that would have been a nice sort of nod.
I like where you're thinking, Parsnip, but Boyd Holbrook is so freaking good as Johnny Cash. So
Yeah.
good. He needs a lot more scenes in the movie.
I mean, the fact that, like, we're getting, speaking of, like, all this sort of multiverse stuff going weird, the fact that the guy that played the scientist or whatever in Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk is all of a sudden showing up within the timeline of what would be Ruffalo's Hulk in the new one is confusing me.
I'm just done with superhero movies unless it's Batman or Spider-Man.
Do people in Ireland exclusively use Gaelic? In some areas, and depending on their beliefs, yes. How realistic is Kneecap?
It's their
I'd
true
say to
story.
some extent. There are still some that sort of... there's a lot of people that don't want the Irish language to just be eaten up and
Mm-hmm.
just have English be it because it's the Irish heritage and everything. How common is it to only being spoken? I mean, it's kind of, I want to say it's akin to Scotland
Mm-hmm.
because the fact that there's a legitimate channel that's BBC Alba, I think it is, that broadcasts pretty much exclusively in Scots Gaelic. The amount of times I have seen My Life as a Courgette. If I want to see the English language version, I've got to go to a different station. But if I want to watch the Scots Gaelic version, it's practically there every 2 months. Same with randomly the animated BFG from like the 80s. The Scots Gaelic version is just there all the time. Parsnip says, I hate Cabin in the Woods.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody that had that opinion on that movie, Parsnip. That's very interesting. I love the movie, and I thought it was, even though I can't watch the ending, I do say that it's one of my favorite IP houses that we did that year at Horror Nights, too.
And I certainly feel the sort of... I feel it's like the slightly more serious version of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I love Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
It's sort of like it's a very it's that there would be a very good double bill because it's sort of like kind
How
of
have we not done
flipping
versus?
the horror genre on its head, but while also being horror.
How have we not done that versus before?
Maybe it should happen.
I have a
Perfect
contact.
opportunity to go for Diane Warren.
It's true. It's very true. It could finally happen, Parsnip.
Parsnip says, I miss AJ. I hope he's okay. If you see this video stream from yesterday, you'll get it. He will be,
he'll
he will
here,
be part of the Q&A stuff that we do.
Yes.
We
are doing a if we chose the Oscars.
Yeah. The person.
And then after award season's over, he'll be back. And not only is he going to be back, since I don't believe you were here the other night when I made this announcement, Movie Club's coming back in April. So that's something to look forward to. And another thing as well, Parsnip, the reviews are getting churned out. We've already got 3 of them up right now. So if you haven't seen those yet, they're all here on the channel. He's got a lot of stuff to do with 2025 movies.
Bryce says, ironically enough, at the César Awards, they put Saldana in leading. Okay. I wonder if Macaulay's jealous of Kieran. Not.
I mean, he gets to be with Brenda Song. I think he's fine.
I mean, sometimes, to some extent, I somehow feel this is sort of karma because you wonder how Kieran felt when everybody was like just talking about Macaulay all the time.
He's getting his 15 minutes now.
But at the same time, Macaulay's doing what he wants to do, and he's sort of not
Fine.
I don't want to say he's Demi Mooring it, because obviously, he hasn't come back to sort of acting properly yet. But it's a case of he's doing what he wants to do. I mean, that's what Demi Moore basically did. The fact that she's still sort of, I can't say looks after Bruce Willis, but the amount of times we've seen her with the Willis family while he's been going through the issues he's been having, it's sort of a nice, a touch. Parsnip bringing up Brutalist lost big to Honora, but anything can happen in the next half hour. That's what bloody Stingray told me. Parsnip also said, all my friends dislike Cabin in the Woods too. We feel like it was pretentious trying to be so meta, but I'd have liked it if it was a normal horror instead of copping out and having the horror be staged. Yeah, but considering where that thing finishes, it's not all staged, surely, to some extent. A lot don't like the director of Cabin in retrospect. I thought his Alien was the worst one.
Ooh, that definitely doesn't have... I definitely don't agree with you on that one.
Wait, what? I'm just double checking. I thought Cabin in the... Which Alien did Drew Goddard do?
He didn't.
I was going to say, that's what I'm trying to work out.
Not that I'm seeing here in front of me.
Yeah. He did Cloverfield, which was a... Well, he wrote Cloverfield, I should say.
And then the far superior 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Well, he was exec producer on that. He didn't write it.
Still was a part of it, though.
The only things he directed was Cabin in the Woods and Bad Times at the El Royale, and you know how I feel about Bad Times at the El Royale.
Right.
It's the Tarantino film Tarantino never made. Oh, are you talking about Alias rather than Alien? Or are you talking about...
He said Alien.
But again, that would be only sort of writing and producing. He directed a few episodes of The Good Place. And apparently he did the pilot episode for High Potential that aired on ABC, apparently. And apparently did well enough that it's getting a second season. Or something. Oh, Joss Whedon wrote one of the Alien movies. I mean, yeah. But I don't think Goddard didn't write Cabin in the... Oh, he co-wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hang on, is it based on an idea? Is it based on an idea by... Oh, it doesn't even say. Because I wonder how much of it is Drew Goddard and then Joss, bumped up the script. Rather than the other way around. Hard to tell. Right, so with that, we are done for this time round. Myself and Owen will be back, I'd say, in and around 4:15 to 4:30-ish on Sunday. Eastern time, that is. For the post-show. At least as it airs, I think, on BritBox. Certainly over here, as it airs on the BBC and iPlayer. So we'll be around for that. And then Spirit Predictions will be happening next week as well.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly the monthly Q&A with AJ.
Yep, he will be back for QAs. And I'll throw this out here now. If you were not watching last night, first off, go watch the video. Second off, I will state that the award season as a whole is fine, but this award season is off limits.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna put the everything rule on this. So we're going back to the worst year of my life, 2023, all over again. So yeah, we can talk about anything you'd like. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to ask anything you'd like, except anything about this award season. If you ask those questions, I'll shoot with you. I'm not going to answer them. I'm not going to even ask them out loud. It'll be just completely skipped over.
Because it's obviously not talking about because it won't be talking about this award season. We'll still be able to do our picks for what we would have had for, I can't remember what category it is that we doing for the 40s and 50s.
Yeah. And also another thing too, it's just basically obviously the movie we don't speak of is not to be mentioned on here. But I will say that AJ would be more than happy to talk about like actual good movies like The Substance and A Real Pain, and we can talk about stuff like that. But yeah, it's ABB here on this channel.
And anything involving a Senor Baker is basically persona non grata on the channel right now.
Yeah, we're gonna Encanto this stuff. We don't talk about Baker on this channel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Other than that, AJ will be back for Q&As.
Yeah.
And once the award season's over, we'll have a plethora of various movie reviews that are going to continue. Versus eventually will come back. The segments you really enjoyed from 2024 will be back. When I disappear out in the fog in August, September, and October, there'll be more content from Ashley and AJ, and more of your favorite horror movies will be reviewed, and Versus will come back. So stay tuned for that.
Maybe because of this, you will, for horror season, get Tucker and Dale versus Evil versus Cabin in the Woods.
I don't remember if we've ever talked about Tucker and Dale in here before. I don't think we have. I could be wrong because we've been doing Versus forever. So, yeah, that's the show.
So yeah, I can be found on Twitter at Ash is my name UK. Owen can be found to Owen Disney, Popcast Network, all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, subscribe, ring the bell, Pokemon. I don't know.
Watch the video from yesterday.
Yeah.
AJ and I did a tribute to Philip Seymour Hoffman right after he passed, and it was the most emotional we've ever been on here, like legit, until you see the passion that AJ put into the video from yesterday. It's not clickbait. It's not begging for anything. It's literally just he needed to get the words out. And for those of you that have watched it already, we appreciate this greatly. Don't care about views, don't care about anything like that. Just trying to get the word out. Because coincidence is a hell of a drug until it's not. That's your show for today. We'll see you guys and girls out there right after the BAFTAs finish airing on BritBox. So we'll be one of the first people to talk about this show. I love that. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Thank you to our live chat. Thank you to Brian. Thank you to Josie. Thank you to Parsnip. Thank you to everyone that joined, whether live or in archive. And thank you for everyone for continuing to move along with award season with Ashley and myself. Like I said, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. Always remember to have the best day ever. And that's all we got to say about that.